This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this demonstration of HyperSTE Plant's Content Quality Checker. HyperSTE basically is, well, as one of our customers said, like guardrails for the office, but it's a checker tool that sits on top of your authoring environment. And that authoring environment can be anything ranging from Arbitext, Word to FrameMaker, Oxygen, and we even support online authoring environments like Hereto and Gmail. But in essence, it sits on top of that and it checks the content of a technical writer against writing rules, and those writing rules can be style guides. For instance, one of them, simplified technical English, to help you create content that is clear and concise. It can be plain language. It can be the Microsoft style guide, or anything in between, really. It does so then by providing problem areas, spots errors quickly and efficient. It can help you create reports, giving you insight in quality metrics, and reduce basically the workload of your writing and editing staff by up to 30% sometimes, and aligns your global writing team with one voice. So it doesn't no longer matter whether you have technical writers in the US, in South America, in Europe, or in Asia. The result of their writing is going to basically be the same. So it's going to look the same. It's going to be basically be one voice towards your end users. An installation actually is very good. It meets the 3 S's, as we say. So it's secure, it's simple, and it's scalable. And then there's some report screenshots here, but I'll show that to you momentarily more in more detail. And then, pain points that are then solved with HyperSTE, helping you create quality content. So content that is accurate, clear, relevant, and consistent. Content that is compliant with different writing standards, and then content that will reduce human errors by ensuring that it's understood only one possible way, and not having different words or different ways of writing that can cause confusion to your end users. So making your content is for technical writers and managers more accurate, compliant, and efficient by automating the compliancy, by accelerating your time to market, and by eliminating friction. Reduced word count, for instance, reduced translation costs are one of the benefits here. And for business leaders, by elevating your customer experience with great content that can also help you open up markets, providing content that results in risks that are reduced, preventing costly claims, for instance, and by expediting your efficiencies. I mentioned it earlier already, but there can be up to 30 to 40% less content, and that can, of course, result in not just cost savings, but also reduce your support costs. Okay, very good. I will now jump to Arbitext. Again, one of the tools that we support, Word, FrameMaker, basically anything that you're using is something that we would plug into. If you don't see your authoring tool, just feel free to reach out to us and ask us if we indeed support that. But you can see here HyperSTE sitting on top of, this case, an Arbitext. You can check a document. Different colors stand for different error messages, so that it helps technical writers get faster familiar with the writing rules. And then you can start clicking away. So acceptable, I'm clicking on. There's an information window that pops up here on the right hand side that tells me that acceptable, well, ironically enough, is not acceptable. We can use 3 different synonyms: satisfactory, and we show an approved and an unapproved sentence; permitted, with a different approved, not approved sentence; and serviceable. Permitted in this case is what I want to use. So you can make those replacements. It will clean up your terms. If you only want to use HyperSTE, for instance, to clean up your terminology, then you can do that. And there's another sentence or another information window down here that actually has sentence memory. We call it authoring memory. And the idea is that once a writer has rewritten a bad sentence into a good sentence, so HyperSTE looks for similar sentences, but also that have a high compliance rating right here. Once that is done, it will give you the alternative, and you can then simply reuse that or make some changes, if you will. It's kind of like a translation memory, if you're familiar with that process, but it's very similar. But rather than going from English to another language like German, you go from English to a more simplified version that everybody, again, can understand. So you can use HyperSTE inside your authoring environment. You can also create reports. Now that I created a report, it's first asking me, since it's cleared the results, if I want to save these new sentences with their links to the old bad sentences into the user or into the database. I won't do that for now, but it will create a new report. And there it is. So you can export the results to Excel or to HTML. It will create a timestamp so you can see how the same types of documents are doing over time. I'll open it up in Edge. Drag it from my one screen to the other, and here we go. So we have 78% compliance, and again, compliant with what? Well, with whatever you decide you wanted to comply with. So it could be, again, simplified technical English, the standard, or the specification, I should say. It could be plain language, it could be the Microsoft Style Guide, whichever one you are looking for. It gives other types of ratings too, for that matter. So we can look at readability, flash Kincaid grade, translatability, similarity, and then some other document statistics here. And then down on the bottom here, we see from high to low frequency, what error messages we're looking at. And if we want to get more detailed results, we click on that, and then you can use these drop-down menus to see how we're doing with certain words. There's about 60, 70 writing rules in there or so, and we recently added some generic English rules support as well. Yeah, we categorize them into these 4 categories: terminology and spelling, grammar, length, and style and structure, to make it a little bit easier for you as a technical writer to see what belongs to what. But you can click on those error messages and then see how you're doing, how many times a word is used or not used, synonyms, categories, which dictionary they belong to, and then, of course, how it's used in context. So that will help you determine well, basically get other types of metrics from that. So that's the reporting feature. It's very, very handy when you start to start a process for content quality like this, because the reporting feature tells you, by running it over one file or multiple files, you can run your entire documentation through it, thousands of pages, and give you really good insight into where you are with your content, how high of a quality it is or how low of a quality it is, and then also determine your quick wins, how to meet your short-term goals by, for instance, only cleaning up your terminology. To the longer-term goals is by just rewriting everything, and then how to, of course, deal with legacy data versus new content is something that we can also help you with as a, setting a strategy, setting your KPIs, etc. Going back then to Arbitext, so we have HyperSTE is offered both as a cloud as well as a on-premise version. The on-premise version basically means that everything resides locally within your own firewall, that you have the ability to basically customize the tool. You can use multiple dictionaries. So the idea is that you have the core dictionary that comes out of the box with HyperSTE, has about 3,000 terms in it, and then your secondary dictionary that actually overrides the primary dictionary, that would be your own organization's your own term database that then you can use to add your own terms to it. It's a service that we offer as well. So we train technical writers on the use of simplified English, for instance. It's a 2-day course or a 12-hour online course, or you can follow the e-learning course that we released a little while ago. You can ask us about that, of course. And then we also offer dictionary building services. We can help you create your own you can help you standardize on your own company specific or industry specific terms. But you can use up to 3 dictionaries with HyperSTE. The project dictionary will override the secondary dictionary, and the secondary dictionary can override the primary dictionary. Do you need a project dictionary? No, not always, but it could be that you need one because you have a customer that requires you to work with certain terms, or you have a project that normally certain terms are not allowed, but for this project or this customer or this division, it should be. And so you can make that happen. Allow you to set which writing rules you want to use, and that allows you to create different profiles, either descriptive text with the Microsoft Style Guide on. So these are the default ones that we offer: descriptive, procedural, and only check for terms. But the very cool thing is you can also do conditional checking. And what that means is that you can load, if you are in an XML environment, you can load, in this case, S1000D or your data tags, and or your own specific tags, and then tell HyperSTE whenever you see this tag, check that for descriptive rules or procedural rules, or skip it altogether because it could have some copyright information in there or other types of information that you don't want to be checked, so that you can get a very accurate feedback as a technical writer, but also accurate score or compliance rating if you are a manager. So I mentioned the on-premise version. The online version is hosted in our portal, and that means that any settings that you showed, that I just showed to you in the on-premise version, is something you can do here. The nice thing with the cloud version is that you have the ability to define, well, we actually do that for you depending on how many licenses you purchase, but these are concurrent users. So you can have as many users within your organization signed up for it, but only if, let's say, you purchase 5 or 10 or 100 licenses, that's the maximum amount of users that can actually use HyperSTE at the same time. You can see the supported applications over here. And again, we have a plugin that works with Chrome and Edge that you can also use for online editing environments. You can manage your dictionaries from here. So in here you have the ability to define which words are approved and which are not. Writers can add new term candidates, and that should also then be approved by the person that has the terminology management rights. You can manage your sentences. There is an online editing environment here. So there's a lot that you can do. And yeah, as I mentioned, you can do the same for profile management, where you can create your own writing rules for whatever type of content you want to create. So that leaves me to go back to the PowerPoint presentation. If I figure out how to get that back, and that would be this way. There you go. Excuse me, that needs to go the other way around. So as I mentioned, we offer services to help you define your business goals, set and manage your KPIs, help you define your terminology and writing rules, offer training for your writers. One of the big benefits of this training, actually, and we've trained now over 3,500 people, is that we see content getting reduced by up to 40% by just, writing the need to know and no longer the nice to know. And then also, of course, offer training, post-implementation support to help you monitor your progress and answer any questions that you may have. So that concludes this particular demo session. If you have any other questions, then feel free to contact us at eduplan.com. You can request some business case studies. You can request us to do another demonstration specifically aimed at your content. We do free trials, free business case analysis, and you can also request these wonderful 3 free guidebooks. We took an old book that we had on that, and we kind of split that up into these 3 chapters. 1 is history of written languages, 2 is simplifying technical English, what does that entail, and then 3, putting it all into practice. Here's my contact information, barry.brassard@eduplan.com. My number here, I'm based in the United States, or my colleague Roy Wichnen, who's based in Europe, and this is his phone number. So feel free to reach out with any questions that you may have, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Bye-bye.